I am the Humble Seer.
Hello and welcome to the Humble Seer. So let's talk about who runs the world. And let's start with what is the most obvious, which is government, okay? And every part of the world has government. I mean, the Serengeti has some form of governing, right? It may not have a formal, what you see in your neck of the woods, but nevertheless, you have a government, okay? But we're going to talk about the governments that we can see, not the Serengeti. And the governments, this is what they look like. Just about every government out there is the 8 of Swords and the 10 of Wands. Because the people within the governments are just the 8 of Swords and the 10 of Wands. They're just, they crave power and attention. But the 8 of Swords is bad news, restrictions, abuse, blame, slander. This is the government, the people within it, whatever names, because I really prefer to put names on a government as opposed to saying a government, because it gets a lot of these people off the hook. But for the purposes of this video, and that, people from different countries will watch it, we'll just say the government. And you can place upon that any name that you want, and you would be right in doing so. And then it's also, the government is also the 10 of Wands. And the 10 of Wands is stress, it's hard work, it's effort, it's massive undertaking, it's a sacrifice. It's a burden. It's a burden for the people doing it, and it's a burden for the people that have to deal with it, being the regular everyday people that involve themselves in paying attention to what the government is doing. Because if you paid less attention to it, it wouldn't affect you as greatly as it may be affecting you, or it may not affect you at all, and you're just curious about who really runs the world. So this is, to lay that foundation. This is the government. This is a start of who runs the world. But this is in no way who really runs the world. So let's move into that. Let's move into the next phase, because we know that people that you can see, if you want to call them that, they are, running around passing bills and making laws and rules and running their mouths and going after the other party. And it's a hot mess. Okay, so let's pull a card let's start to get the picture of who actually runs this world. And that world is whatever world that you're in, whatever country you're in. But ultimately, I'm getting it is the world. So let's get a card on that and see what wants to come through. Okay, so we've got the 4 of Wands on who runs the world. I'm going to get one more card. I see why the 4 of Wands came out. Okay, so we have the 4 of Wands and we have the 4 of Swords. Okay, the 4 of Wands is happy home. It's just everything that you would want, a safe and secure home. All the trappings, right, of a happy home. And then we have the 4 of Swords, which is fear, anxiety, stress, overloaded. You get the idea. Mental overload, needing solitude, overwhelmed, needing rest. Okay, so this is the people, because what I'm getting is we're still talking about, we've moved out of the government body, right? The people that are within, that have been so-called elected. That's questionable, but we'll just work with me. The people that are brought into office, like the whatever politician that has been, there's a ballot and you vote and all of that, okay? They're getting the Four of Wands as it relates to the comforts of home. While the people get the Four of Swords, which is the complete opposite. So this governing body, this government, gives the people the Four of Swords, but the people that have been brought in to run this and have these different committees and become, congressmen and senators, they have the Four of Wands. But they also have this because it's problems. But irrespective of that, they still have this, and many of them enjoy it. They don't even really concern themselves with the people and the stresses or the things that they have to involve themselves with as it relates to, governing. Okay. But we also, within this here, we have like lobbyists and special interests and major corporations who are the Four of Wands, who are benefiting off, you could say the backs of the regular everyday people. Because the regular everyday people are working and putting in money into the coffers that they are misappropriating, they're just blowing. They're spending on, and a lot of it is nefarious. But those special interests and lobbyists, and they're grouped in with the people that are running your country. I'm in the United States, so I would say Congress, senators, the administration, the Oval Office, things like that. They have the Four of Wands with all of the other special interests, lobbyists, main large corporations, while the people are here. So they're part of running the world as well. They're involved and they have a major role in that and a major say in that. But I would suggest to you that it goes much deeper and higher than just regular everyday people. And I'm talking about people now, humans. Because the running of the world goes beyond human. So let's pull a card. We'll pull two cards on what everybody is answering to. Beknownst or unbeknownst, right? Okay, there's one. I wanted to come out. And let's get one more. And let's get a look at whatever this is that is ultimately running the world. This card wanted to fly out. Three of Cups. And the Knight of Swords. Now we know Three of Cups is about celebration. It's happiness, it's coming together. And if you look at the depiction on the card of whatever these things are that are ultimately running the world, well, they don't look human-like, right? They look like something dead. Everything else on this board has flesh. Everything else on this board has a human face, or there's humans, but whatever it is, you are easily recognizing it. It's an animal, or it's a person that's bound, with fat cheeks, or a creature, bugs, a person and a person. But now we're getting to, okay, some might say, well, it's a skeleton. Work with me. You don't know what it's a skeleton of. But whatever it is, It ain't human, but it's celebrating. It likes what it does. It likes what it gets. And we also have the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is about death. It's about destruction. You know, it's aggressive. It's quick moving. And that's whatever this thing ultimately, that everything it rolls up to. Once again, you know, people will, some will know who their master is and who they are, who is ultimately running things. You know, I believe the Bible says that this earth is the devil's playground. And to me, that just looks like a devil. To me, that doesn't look like anything good. And it brings death and destruction. It brings problems to us, to the people. So that's who runs the world. You've got, it's really that simple. You've got the governing bodies, you've got the government, you've got the lobbyists. You have the special interests, the major corporations, you know, which work with the lobbyists and all of that. And then ultimately you have something that you don't ever see, but that brings you this and looks like that. It looks like something that if you were to be walking at night and you go around the corner down the alley and you see something like this, you're aghast, you are frozen in time, you don't know what to do. Because that's a lot of what is running the world. Now, you know, you have good and evil, right? But not so good is running things, is my point in all of this. I'm going to leave it there. I mean, we could talk about this for hours on end. This just gives you a very high level, you know, explanation. We could drill down into all of these things. And in some instances, I've done that. But I'm going to leave it there and say thank you so much for stopping by the Humble Seer. Please do consider liking, sharing, subscribing. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think about this reading. And if you'd like what I do, consider buying me a coffee, and that will be in the description box below. Until next time, as always, you take good care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.